Right, big dog insurance firms. Here we go. Another video discussing insurance firms, insurance brokers. What type of leads are your favorite? Referrals, inbound, outbound, and what are the pros? What are the cons? And if you're thinking, I have so many conversations with insurance firms, and some of them say, we only go based on referrals. Our whole business is word of mouth, referrals. That's how we grow. Others absolutely love inbound, paid traffic, buying leads. They swear that this is the way to grow an insurance firm. And then others go completely the different route to that and swear by outbound, generating a lot of their traffic themselves, spending time and actually generating business for their own firm. So let's discuss the pros, the cons, and also let's discuss the associated assets that you'll need to be able to make these work. So what are the necessary steps that you need? What are the systems? What are the processes to actually make this work? Because if you're currently just using referrals and word of mouth, but you want to try inbound, maybe you want to try outbound, I'm going to share the default things that you'll need. So quick introduction, my name is Brandon. We help insurance firms implement an acquisition system that gets them more customers, more leads, more policy sales, more business coming directly to them on a complete paid and results basis. This is my LinkedIn if you want to check that out. This is our website. Both of the links will be left in the description below. So let's discuss referrals, word of mouth. What are the pros here? Okay, so the pros to having this is really systems are not needed. So follow-up systems, sales systems. A lot of these systems are not needed because the client or the potential prospect is really warm. They've been referred to you, somebody's recommended you, and when they pick up the phone, when they actually call you directly, they already want to buy something off you. You just need to make sure that you've got a good service. You need to make sure you don't really mess it up, make sure you've got good pricing. But as far as correct systems in place to make this work, you don't really need that. Like referrals are very high conversion rates because it's just how the customer hears about you. It's the fact that they've been referred. By the time they've called you, they've already decided 90% of the time if they're going to buy from you already. Good thing with this is it's cheap. So what I mean by that is, let's just say you've got affiliate partners as well. Let's just say you pay people for referrals. You're only paying them for when the policy goes ahead. So it is cheap in a way like that. Or if it's just complete word of mouth and you've not got any referrals, then it's just complete free business. It's a very good way to generate business. We all love referrals, but the cons to this is it's not instantly scalable. So what I mean by this is, let's just say you're getting 10 referrals per month at the moment and you want to go to 30. There isn't any buttons, there isn't any things that you can put in place that just instantly allows you to scale. Now you can add affiliate partners and you can work for months and months to try and do this, but it's not something that you can just flick a switch and have systems just basically get more. Word of mouth and referrals are slower. Also, the problem with this is that it is unpredictable. And the issue with it being unpredictable is that it doesn't allow you to make really good calculated business decisions, and it doesn't allow you to bring on new staff and grow at the pace that you would like to grow. And because it is unpredictable, it just means that you are always trying to look for new opportunities to generate business. So the next one, inbound traffic. And really I'm thinking about this as paid traffic, Google Ads, Bing Ads, PPC, Facebook, Instagram, any of the other platforms, and also the likes of third-party lead providers, buying leads, sourcing data, and that type of stuff. So the pros to this is it does have good conversion rates, and it has good conversion rates on the basis that you have all of the cons in place, okay? Good thing with this is it is extremely scalable. So let's just say you're running some sort of paid marketing, you're spending $5,000 a month and it's generating you 200 new policy sales, for example. Let's just say you want to go to 400. It is really as simple as just doubling the ad spend, as long as you have all the other systems in place. So it has great conversion rates based on if you have the cons in place. So if you've got the right systems in place, then it does have really good conversion rates. It's extremely scalable, which means that next month, the month after, you can literally just spend more to acquire more. Now, you want to make sure you've got all the systems in place before you do that, but it does give you a lot of scalability. And the other one is it is predictable, meaning that let's just say you get it to a point where you are getting 200 new policy sales. That will consistently repeat month on month after once you've got the system refined. So it is really predictable because it allows you to literally spend money to make money. Now, the cons here are quite a few actually. So the cons here are obviously it costs money. So it requires you to have an investment to start. It requires you to put money down to make money. It does require some form of skill set. So buying leads, not really, because you can just tell them you want this amount of leads, these filters, they send it through to you. But if you're thinking about paid traffic, it does require some form of skill set. So you need to know what you're doing. You need to know how to set the campaigns up correctly. You need to know how to structure the campaigns. You need to understand the conversion mechanism as a whole. So how do you turn somebody from eyeballs into a paying customer, and what's the process to do that? I've highlighted something here as well, which is a conversion mechanism is needed. So you need to have some way that that customer can turn from an eyeball into a lead. So that's going to be landing pages. This is going to be a good website that has strong call to actions. This is a contact form. This is maybe a quote and buy online. You need to have some method in place to be able to convert that person from an eyeball to a lead. Most of the time, this is just going to be really high converting landing pages. The other con here is going to be contact rate systems needed. So you're going to need to have a great system. So when that person does submit their information to you, you know, making sure that you've got emails in place, SMSs in place, make sure you've got voicemails going out, make sure the person's actually being contacted within in a good time frame. You know, are you contacting that person within the first 30 minutes of them submitting their form, or are you waiting 3-4 days before that person is being contacted? So you need to make sure you've got an exact system on every single lead comes through. How do we service that person, and how do we get them onto our phones in the first place? So that is, you know, really important. The other one here is a sales system. So because it's a colder type of customer, because the person may have never heard of your firm before seeing a random ad, or maybe just being sent through to you from a lead provider, you need to make sure you've got great sales systems to be able to persuade, convert that person into a policy sale. Because if you just offer them a price, you don't have any objection handling, you don't really offer the sale, you don't put in any effort to try and convert that customer through a complete system, then that person's not going to go ahead. They might just say, oh, I think about it, speak to my wife, I need to check my bank, all of the standard things that people say when they don't want to go ahead. And you need to make sure that you've got good sales systems to combat that. And the last thing of this is that you have to have good follow-up systems. So when somebody does say I need to think about it, you have good sales systems, but you can't get that person to go ahead because not everyone's going to buy from you. Have you got the right systems in place to be able to follow that person up? So are you sending the quote over to them in an email? Do you have another call scheduled with them, a follow-up call? Do you have other emails, resources, content and value that you can provide that person to make them feel that they are in the right place to purchase? So cons, you know, there's quite a few, but effectively great conversion rates and scalable and predictable are on the back foot of having these in place. So these are required to effectively make this work, okay? And then the last one here is outbound. Outbound being cold outreach, email outreach, Instagram outreach, cold calls, that type of stuff. Certain product lines you can't provide this for, so you can, but you just have to be creative. And then others it is really easy. So for example, cold calls is a hard thing to do for car insurance because it's hard to get in front of that person because there's no way of contacting them. Where do you find their telephone number? Where do you find their email from? But let's just say you're doing business to business where you're selling large corporate policies, maybe combined policies, then cold email, cold calling is a really easy thing to you to do because you can get somebody to scrape a load of leads for businesses, and then you can basically put processes in place to be able to contact them and all that type of stuff. Now, you can also do cold outreach via Facebook, Instagram, you can go onto groups. So for example, let's just say you've got cycle insurance. Let's just say you've got certain product niches that maybe cold call won't be ideal for. You can go into Facebook groups and basically message people who are associated to those groups. If we use cycle insurance, for example, you can go onto a cycle enthusiast Facebook page that has like 10, 20,000 members and start doing cold outreach systems via there to generate business. So the good thing with this is it is relatively cheap and free. The cost to get somebody to scrape 10,000 leads is not a lot at all. If you can do it yourself, or if you want to do it yourself, you pay someone to do it, then effectively it's cheaper. It's a really low cost to be able to do that. The same with going on to Facebook groups, starting a Facebook page, going onto a Facebook group and starting to message people is completely free. The good thing with this is it can be done at all stages of business. So this can be done completely from fresh. You know, you just started a business, you're 1 month in, you're 2 months in. This is really the best way to be able to attack things because it's low cost. And it can be done at any stage, meaning that referrals and word of mouth, that's not something that can be done day one because nobody knows about you. But outbound can be done from day one, but it also can be something that can be scalable with a large amount of staff members when you're doing sort of multi 6 figures, 7 figures. The good thing is here it is predictable and scalable. And what I mean by that is once you know your numbers, once you know that it may be 200 messages to get a quote, or 100 cold messages to get a quote. Maybe you need to make 60 cold calls to get a quote for someone to book in a call with you. Then once you know those numbers, then it's just scalable. So right, every 60 calls that we make, we book 1 lead. So if I need to make 600 calls, I can get 10 leads. If I make 6,000 calls, then I'm going to get 100 leads. And it's really as simple as that. So it's really predictable and scalable once you've got the system in place, once you've got it working consistently, and then you have someone who can just repeat it over and over and over again. The good thing with this is it is easy. You know, you just need to set a script. You need to just set an exact process and a system and SOP in place, and then effectively it can just be replicatable by yourself, staff members, virtual assistants. The cons to this is obviously it's time heavy. The time required to make 100 cold calls, 100 cold messages, 100 emails, it does take time. So it's very time heavy, requires a lot of volume, which means that you tend to have somebody full time doing it. You have to be doing it full time. You have to have a group of virtual assistants to be doing it full time. And the only way that it works is at volume. If you're doing 5 cold calls, 10 cold calls a day, and 2 emails, then it's just never going to work. It has to be done over a large volume and a large sample size. The other thing is it requires obviously a lot of scripts. You have to sit down and understand what works. For example, cold calls, you have to have a script that actually works. If you just call someone, say, "Hi, I'm Brandon calling from Brandon Insurance Brokers. We sell this. Would you be interested?" Just somebody's going to hang the phone up instantly. You have to make sure you've got the right scripts in place, and it's the same as when you're outreaching people. If you just say, "Hi, can we give you cycle insurance quote?" People are just not going to be interested in that. So you need to make sure you've got scripts that actually work for cold outreach. The other thing here is you've got to have great sales systems. This is a really cold inquiry, definitely with cold calls. This is the most coldest approach that you can get a lead come through. When they do speak to you and they go through the quote process and you give them a price, you need to have incredible sales systems to be able to convert that person, because they are going to flake the most. They're going to be the person who has to think about it, ask this person, because they just never heard about you. They've heard about you. The first interaction was 10 minutes ago from a cold call, an unsolicited phone call. So you've got to have great sales systems in place, and on the back of that have to have incredible follow-up systems that provide value, send out the quote, additional SMS, text messages, email, and providing some personal one-on-one support to that person, because again, they need to be convinced that you're the best person to buy from. So that's really the pros and cons from a 30,000 foot view of referrals, inbound and outbound. I hope that's shed some light. I hope that's sparked some ideas for you. And also, if you're thinking about doing any of these, like if you're currently doing referrals, you've got word of mouth, but you're thinking, well, okay, we would like to try inbound. We've got some free cash flow. Inbound and paid traffic may be an option for us. Or if a few of those things that I've mentioned there, you've got some available time, you've got staff members that currently aren't doing as much as you'd like them to do, maybe some outbound ideas would be great to be able to just generate some really low cost acquisition. Again, obviously it's time, it requires scripts and it requires time, but it's a really cost effective way to do it. So again, if you're thinking about any of those, I hope this video has helped you out. If you're interested in getting more leads, more sales, more customers coming to you direct, then check out the first links in the description. Feel free to message me on LinkedIn if you've got any questions. But yeah, really appreciate you watching this video. Wishing you all a great day, and subscribe, like, do all that good YouTube stuff. Stick around for more videos. Cheers.